Well, blessings on this Sabbath day. Um, you know, Thank you, Max, for sending this article on the oceans are dying. And as I read it, let me see. The fish that are coming up from the bottom of the ocean over in the Pacific and landing in on the shores of California are dying. Other fish are dying, like starfish and stuff. And even on the East Coast. Well, as I read this, and I read about what happened over in Japan, and the nuclear power plant, and how they are still dumping nuclear waste into the ocean. Well, in Revelations, the 8th chapter, it speaks of woodworm, wormwood. Anyway, and we realize that wormwood is bitter. Now, I know it talks about a star, falling. And so we must see that some's coming from outer space also that has nuclear waste in it for whatever reason, But we know that since Japan was hit by that tsunami, swept over their land viciously, destroying much, and now they had another earthquake, and you have a couple of typhoons, I think that's what they call them, coming in and may wash over it again. But our oceans are dying. The Pacific Ocean, specifically right now. I mean, this gentleman even wrote in there, he says, we hardly saw any living thing. See, they had been over there and they was coming back, and after, he says, after we left Japan, it felt as if the ocean itself was dead. And he says, we hardly saw anything, living thing. We saw one whale, sort of rolling helplessly on the surface with what looked like a big trauma on its head. It was pretty sickening. And he says, I've done a lot of miles in the ocean in my life, and I've used to seeing turtles, dolphins, sharks, big flurries of feeding birds, but this time for 3,000 nautical miles there was nothing alive to be seen. Because of this nuclear waste that's being poured out and going down into the bottom of the ocean, as the currents carry it, kind of like churns. Our oceans are being killed by man-made substance that's being poured out into the ocean. And it says that 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 the animals, that the fish and that the birds would die. I mean, go read chapter 8 of Revelations for yourself. Because it says, a third part of the creatures which were in the sea and had life died, and a third part of the ships were destroyed. This is only the beginning. These people are only the beginning. We are letting chemicals out into the ocean that is destroying the life-giving force in the ocean, and it's killing the creatures of the sea. The salmon are dying. The tuna, the things that we eat, and the things that men make a living by going out and fishing and stuff, is dying. Our planet is dying. I mean, do you really understand what's going on? Because our planet is becoming so polluted by man's sin and disregard of where we put stuff, our waste. And I'm not a kind of person that believes that just the smoke from industries and stuff do it. Out on the East Coast and West, they dump crap out there in the ocean. Stuff, I don't know how you can dispose of it, but if you dump it out into the ocean and the stuff is polluted, like one time I read an article where syringes were being washed up on the beaches from medical stuff, and other stuff that, from hospitals and things, that was classified as biohazard. Our earth really is dying, people. And it grieves me. Our government is more concerned with nonsensical things sometimes than understanding that there's something bigger going on here. As we pollute our own waterways, what are we going to drink? Now, I know that my brother, I had a gentleman go off on me about saying what I said about Germany one time. Well, my grandpa was a German, so I have German blood in me. So, whenever this gentleman called me a witch and all sorts of names, I just blocked him and his nonsense stuff, because he doesn't know me. But the two major wars that happened was caused by Germany. I don't care what he says. It was. But there's many a good people over in Germany. Honest, loving, kind people. But my brother was over in Germany when he was in the army. And you really can't drink the water too good over there at that time. Hopefully it's changed, but because of the wars and because of the contamination of their drinking, their rivers and stuff and things, my brothers said that they drank a lot of beer and wine and stuff because of the pollution of the water. Well, you see, that's what wars cause sometimes. And then we build nuclear plants right where they can be. If something goes wrong, like over in Japan, it will flow out into the oceans and rivers and streams, polluting. And a major earthquake caused this. Well, and also there's another thing going on that it states is methane gas coming up. Where does methane gas come from? From volcanoes. If there's about to be an eruption coming up, a volcano coming, it lets forth methane gas that not only kills the animals, but it pollutes the area and can kill human beings. So out in the Pacific Ocean, besides the chemical waste from that nuclear power plant, methane gas is also building up. And then there you have the rim of fire that's out in the Pacific Ocean that goes around. I really believe something major is about to happen out there too, let alone on the Middle East. This world is about to enter a stage of great shaking. I mean, shaking. The 4 blood red moons is a sign of major things that's about to happen to this earth. Some of it's man-made. Some of it is God-made. But we are coming to the end of this age. You know, the Mayan calendar that everybody was so frantic about and I spoke about on my last video. The Mayan calendar ended in 2012. It's like at the end of this year, the calendar for 2013 will end. We fold it up and throw it away. That is over with. And then we put a calendar up for 2014. Well, that age of the Mayan calendar that they calculated ended. But of course they didn't make a new age. That's the reason why people got all panicky and thought, oh my word, the world's going to end. No, it just means that they didn't make the new calendar to run out. But that age ended. I believe it kind of represents that this age that we are in right now is about to end. And it's going to go through some very tumultuous things before the changing over. because it's kind of like this one age is dying and a new birth is coming. And of course, that new birth is Yeshua HaMashiach coming back to earth again. But this age has to go through a process of shutting down and dying. And it is. And this earth is going to shake so violently that everybody on this earth is going to feel it. Earthquakes is going to pop out. Volcanoes are going to come up from the depths of the ocean. And that's how new islands are made, they say. Of course, we have a new island over there. But things are going to heave. I mean, it's like it's heaving, getting ready to give birth. Giving birth to a new age. And as this birthing goes on, this age is slowly dying away. New life is about to begin on this planet Earth when Yeshua HaMashiach comes. The governments are in great turmoil, like America spying on Germany's leader. My word. America just spying on everything, aren't they? Monitoring personal messages from governments, spying on us, what we say, listening to our cell phone conversations, not only over there, but over here. They're just spying everywhere. We're all enemies. We're all enemies of the state, it seems like. I do know that they have to probably spy and listen on certain things, but they're spying on everything, even their friends. And if you're my friend and I know that you got a device and you're listening to my telephone calls that are private, maybe to my son or daughter or grandsons or what, I'm going to get irritated. It's none of your business what I talk to privately to my family members or to my best friend. Maybe something's happened and I'm going to talk to my best friend and talk to them and they console me. Well, we've interfered with that. So see, there's a lot of stuff going on in this world leading up to the climax. Sometimes we here in America causes our own trouble with our own arrogance, thinking that we're supreme and that we can do what we're doing, casting our friendships aside. So now we got the oceans dying. We got friendships that may be at risk. We got the Middle East over there about to explode into a nuclear war that's going to cause more pollution, not only of the land over there around Israel, but the oceans, currents, Mediterranean Sea and going out into the Atlantic Ocean. And it's about to explode beyond belief. we've got an asteroid or a comet or whatever that thing is coming in, and whether it hits the earth or not, we will at one time or another go through the tail of the comet that has massive stuff in it that can hit the earth. And if so, it would be fulfilling some of the prophecy in chapter 8 of Revelations. So this is all coming about. It's coming to a head. And as this stuff develops, then we have the two witnesses that will come to Jerusalem to testify to the world for 3.5 years. Not only to Jerusalem, but to the world. Just before this, though, there's 144,000 Israelites from each tribe, 12,000 from each tribe, mounting 144,000, will be sealed, and they will come out and begin to preach the word of Yeshua HaMashiach. Because they will be sealed with the mark of the Messiah upon their foreheads, and they will stand for him. See, it just, people, we're in the last days. All of this is happening. This is why I was led to speak today on this Shabbat, that we really do need to get our hearts right with him. Quit fearing all of this stuff I don't have no fear. You know, if all of a sudden a huge volcano out in the Pacific Ocean come up, in fact, if it did, let me see, or into the Atlantic Ocean, you know, either one or both, it would be like, and the second angel sounded, and it was a great mountain burning with fire was cast into the sea, and the third part of the sea become blood. Okay, now if you see this volcano coming up out of the ocean, and I don't think it's an asteroid or something. It says a great mountain. If all of a sudden it exploded and it come up out of the ocean and it exploded and it rained hell, fire, and brimstone out of the mouth of it, destroying the sea creatures, and the methane that's coming up now destroying the sea creatures. The ships out there would be destroyed that happened to be close to this event. The tidal waves that would come up and spread out, sweeping on both sides. If it's in the Pacific Ocean, it'll go to Japan and along the coast over there. It would come up and go along the east coast the west coast over here, California and things. If there happened to be a volcano coming up at the Atlantic Ocean, and I seen one time in a vision where a great huge volcano comes up and erupts in the Atlantic Ocean. So if they happen pretty well in sequence, both coasts would be pretty well destroyed. Pretty well. Because the tidal wave from these things could be very devastating on both coasts, on both sides of the land. I'm not saying it will happen, but I am saying it's a great possibility that it can happen. Because this world is going to be shaken. That would shake it. You had two huge volcanoes erupting right out of both oceans. Don't think this world wouldn't shake. And it says so in the Bible. It talks about a great shaking of this earth. Now see, people may say, oh, that won't happen. You know, I really believe that this Bible is the inspirational word of God. And I'm just so naive, I believe every word in it. Every word that's written in it, I do believe it. And I believe things like this is going to happen, people. We are in a devastating time in the life of this earth age, because we're coming to the end of this earth age. And it will finally come to a conclusion after Yeshua comes and he reigns here on earth for 1,000 years. And then Satan's let loose, and then there's another short-lived war, and God himself will come down. Then a new earth age, a new time, a new beginning will happen. What will happen after that? I think there's a few things that point to it throughout the Bible, but I'm not going into that because it will be a new earth age. And God himself will come down. God the Father will come down and tabernacle with us. We need to wake up. God is telling us it's time to wake up and prepare your hearts for what is coming. I truly believe that Yeshua is about to come for his bride. At exactly what time, I have no idea. But that's why we are told to watch and pray, continuously praying and watching the signs, knowing that our time of going home is nigh at hand, and that our Redeemer is coming. Our Redeemer is coming. But this world is going to go through a deep and fast and mighty change, people. Many will die over these events. In fact, in Isaiah it tells that the people of this earth will become so rare, there will be hardly any people left. And if Yeshua doesn't come, there would be no one left. So that time will get shorter for his coming, because he has to come to stop this madness that's going on, or we will destroy every living human being upon this earth with the wars that is about to happen, with the nuclear plants that's going to erupt and spill their stuff out into the rivers, the streams, the oceans, with everything that is happening around the world. You know, Yeshua come and died for us. Christianity itself is in great trouble. Not only is there a great falling away happening right now in the churches of mankind, but the governments are wanting to stop the name of Jesus Christ, Yeshua. They want to stop people from worshiping God, the Father. They're just, my heart is broken. And it's time to prepare your life. Today is a day that you must decide whom you serve. Do you serve the world and the lust of the world? Or do you serve God, the Father, through the blood of Yeshua? Because He's the door. We must go through Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ, to get to the Father. He set Him up that way. I didn't do it. God did it. God said, this is the way you must go through to get to me. And I do want to get to Him. So our beloved Yeshua died as that sacrifice for us, that we can come before the Father. With all the trouble that's going on, all the disasters that's happening right now, and more to come, instead of fearing, give your heart to Him. Give your heart to Him. I feel this urgency. There's some people out there, your time is so short because you're living in some of these areas that's going to go down. And if your heart is not right with God, you will meet death. You will meet death and not be prepared. If you're prepared, then when you meet death, you will go home. You will go home to Him. That's what's important. If you prepare yourself and you happen to be in that zone that you may die with the rest of the people. I mean, I don't know. What if an earthquake happened right here, right now? I want my heart right with Him. So when I take my last breath, I will go home. I will go home to the Father. Through the blood of Yeshua HaMashiach. The warnings in the skies, in the universe, the warnings that are here upon earth, all the things that's been going on, the birds dying in baby, the blood, the water turning into blood, the rivers. I mean, we've seen this going on for some time now, and the signs are just multiplying and multiplying and multiplying, and nobody seems to be listening. All they can do is care about more stuff, wanting the government to take care of you, the Obamacare crap. The government can't help you. The government can't save you. There's only one. Only one. Please make a decision today, to give your heart to Yeshua. All you have to say is, please forgive me, Father, in the name of Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. Please forgive me of my sins. Take my heart and cleanse it. Take me and make this body your temple. Come and dwell in me so that I can go to you and live in your kingdom with you, with your glorious power and your glorious righteousness and in your glorious sight, that you forgive me of all my sins and wash and make me whole. Purify me, forgive me. Humbly forgive me in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Forgive me and come into my heart and live. Cleanse me of everything that is not right in your life. In the holy, holy name of Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ. Just pray that prayer and mean it. And He will come in and live and walk with you. Blessings upon this beautiful, wonderful Sabbath day. Well, blessings on this Sabbath day. You know, thank you, Max, for sending this article on the oceans are dying. And as I read it, let me see. The fish that are coming up from the bottom of the ocean over in the Pacific and landing in nuclear waste into the ocean. Well, you know, in Revelations, the 8th chapter, it speaks of woodworm, wormwood. Anyway, and we realize that wormwood is bitter. Now, I know it talks about a star, you know, falling. And so, on the shores of California are dying. Other fish are dying, like starfish and stuff. And even on the East Coast. Well, as I read this, and I read about what happened over in Japan, you know, and the nuclear power plant, and how they are still dumping, coming in and may wash over it again. But our oceans are dying. The Pacific Ocean specifically right now. I mean, this gentleman even wrote in there, he says, we hardly saw any living thing. See, they had been over there and they was coming back, and after, you know, he says, after we left Japan, it felt as if the ocean itself was dead. And he says, we must see that some's coming from outer space also that has nuclear waste in it for whatever reason, you know. But we know that since Japan was hit by that tsunami, swept over their land viciously, destroying much, and now they had another earthquake, and you have a couple of typhoons, I think that's what they call